With me now is Congressman Tim Ryan, Democrat from Ohio, also presidential candidate. Congressman, you're there on Capitol Hill. That's where all the news is and all the action is this hour. How did you vote? The motion was to table, to put it aside. Did you say put this impeachment resolution aside, or did you say, no, I want to consider it?
I voted to put it aside for now. I am for impeachment, but I don't think we should bring it right to the floor, Steve. I mean, this is a big deal, and it needs to go through the committee process. I understand that emotions run high, but the reality of it is if we're going to do something this big, it needs to go through the proper channels, and it needs to go through the committee process, and that's why I voted to table it.
So you say you do support impeachment. What made this resolution, besides the fact this was a privileged resolution, bringing it straight to the floor, what also made this resolution different than a lot of the conversation we've had about impeachment was that Congressman Green rooted this impeachment call in the president's rhetoric, in his public words about race, about immigration. So much of the conversation has been about the Mueller report and obstruction. Do you think that the items that are cited here by Congressman Green should be, if you're for impeachment, should it be part of the articles of impeachment ultimately?
Probably not. I mean, this president, we're talking about high crimes and misdemeanors here. We're talking about obstruction of justice, 5, 6, maybe more counts, pretty clear in the Mueller report. I read it twice. And so I think we should stay focused on that. We're all obviously very appalled with what the president has done, what he continues to do. It's a black mark on the country, a black mark on the White House. But the impeachment should stay focused on the obstruction of justice, and it should go through the proper channels. And I do support it going through the proper channels.
What about the calendar on this? The House is going to be in recess for August, after next week. Mueller comes next week. That's a big deal. But then everybody goes on vacation. Everybody goes home. They're not back till Labor Day. The clock is ticking here. You're for impeachment. When would it start?
Yeah, I mean, that's the story of a legislative body. You're always running against the clock, and, hopefully soon. I mean, I'm encouraging people to get this thing moving. I think we need to move on it. We need to go through the proper channels. But, yeah, it probably won't happen next week. So I'm hoping as soon as we get back in September that's when we start the process.
Do you think leadership, we've read all, and we've gotten certainly indications leadership is not too enthusiastic about impeachment. Do you think they're trying to run the clock?
Hard to tell. I'm not in those meetings, Steve, and there's a lot of different interests in our caucus. Almost 240 members of caucus from 240 separate districts, some moderate, some conservative, some liberal, and there's a lot of interest that Speaker Pelosi is balancing now. So I don't know what their thinking is at this point.
Let me ask you about the other big piece of business there. Again, we're expecting it shortly after this vote. You see this vote now on your screen wrapping up. We're also expecting the House to vote on holding the Attorney General, the Commerce Secretary, in criminal contempt. And as we were talking about in the last segment, that means goes to the Justice Department, presumably Barr. The Attorney General says the Justice Department won't pursue this. Why criminal contempt and not civil contempt that would have allowed you as a House to try to get a subpoena to enforce what you're looking for?
Well, I'm not exactly sure the machinations on that, but I do think going for the criminal contempt is important because you can't ignore Congress. I mean, this is getting down to some fundamental values, the establishment of our own democracy, saying that the Congress has the power in Article 1 of the Constitution, and it's the House of Representatives, not even the Senate. And so I think having that there in a criminal way, I think is important for us to do it.
Let me ask you about you. We say you're a presidential candidate. We understand this afternoon there's news that you have qualified for this second debate coming up. But there is the criteria for these debates is going to be changing heading into the fall. You're going to have to be polling at a level you're not at right now, 2% in 4 of these polls. The fundraising criteria goes up. Are we on the verge of a big crunch in this race where you and other candidates at your level of support have to make a decision?
I think there will be a big crunch. I don't think it's going to be me. We're going to have a great debate at the end of the month. And as we saw in the last debate, those are opportunities where the whole race can turn on a dime. And I think people are looking for somebody like me who's focused on the economic issues, focused on the corruption and the structural inequality in our society today. That's what people want. They want us to get back to this economic conversation. The 75% of the people, for example, who are living paycheck to paycheck, people who can't afford their health care or pay their prescription drugs. They want the Democratic Party to be focused on those issues, which I am, and the more people that get to know me, the more they like me. So I'm going to just continue to try to get that message out, and and then we take it to Donald Trump in the fall, and we take him down because he's not done anything for the economy. He's made matters worse and sold out to the country club class, and I'd be a good contrast in that race as well. And so we're really excited about the next couple weeks, and we're going to have some fun.
Okay, and I think, again, folks can see there on the, we'll go full screen with this. You see that tally board we've been showing you? That's off the screen. The vote is officially closed. It is over, and the House has voted overwhelmingly to table the impeachment resolution. So,
hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Meet the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.